Alright, we're back at it. The alternator in this car I actually have not replaced. It's been in here, it's the original one for 11 years. So given I've replaced coil packs, spark plugs, I even did the fuel pump. The fuel pump never failed. I just decided to go ahead and I'm doing basically an all-around replacement of everything because the car is at 145,000 miles, so it's almost to hit 150. I do road trips over to California, so I want to ensure that it doesn't break down on me and I have to pay for somebody else to do it. So the alternator I have yet to replace. It's 11 years old, has 145,000 miles on it. So here's the one I've gotten from O'Reilly's. Like I said before, I go with Part Store parts because they come with a limited lifetime warranty. So if it goes out, they replace it for free. Even though I am completely impressed that this alternator down here has lasted for 11 years and 145,000 miles. Believe it or not, it's made by Mitsubishi, is the part number on it, which it's a lot more expensive to go OEM, but with this lifetime warranty, can't go wrong with that, because if it fails, I'll just replace it, put it in. So let me get started. First things first, when dealing with any electronics, mass flow, airflow sensor, since we're doing the starter and alternator, you should always unplug the negative battery cable, not the positive. Okay, I've removed the undershield. I have a aluminum one which doesn't rust. I got it from Toll Booth Willie. It's really good. So as you can see here above the oil filter is the alternator. You can even see on the alternator it still has its original Nissan sticker. So after 11 years I've decided that I'm not going to push it with this alternator. The typical lifespan on one is like 8 years. On my girlfriend's BMW 3 Series, I replaced hers. It lasted for about 8 years, right around there. So, I mean, going on 11 years here, I think I'm on my last leg. Even though I read the voltage on it, the voltage was within spec. So I've decided to go ahead and replace it. And let's go ahead and do this. So first to get started, if you see right there, this is going to be your bolt tensioner. So what you're going to do is you're going to loosen this to let the pulley drop down. You're going to have to take a little, loosen that nut on the pulley also, so it'll actually like slide down. So just a wee little bit, loosen that nut, and then loosen this. Let's get started. Alright, I looked in the service manual. It's not the sway bar. It's actually the fan shroud. I've had this radiator. I replaced it not too long ago, so it's brand new, because after 11 years I decided it needed to replace too, but I never really made a video for it. It's pretty simple though. Anyways, back to what I'm supposed to be doing here, which would be I'm going to remove the sensors here on the back of this. So there's one and there's two. So all you got to do is press down on the back of this and it should slide out, but it's a little difficult, so do that. And then once you are able to do that, you see these two notches down here? You're just going to pull this, you pull it up from the top, and this will just slide out, and that'll give you access to get the radiator to pull down over the sway bar. And just be very careful you don't hit it into any of these fins on the fan and bend it. So after removing the sensors on the back of the fan shroud, you have to remove the breather hose on the reservoir tank, and then we're going to have to remove this hose right here to have it come up, and then this will just slide right up. You may have a little issue with the AC lines hitting the fan shroud. If so, just bend them a little to the right and it'll be fine. Okay, after reading the service manual, they want you to remove the radiator fan, which requires you to drain the radiator fluid because to get it out, the front radiator hose is in front of it. So instead, I just removed the front strut bar, and after doing that, it gave me pretty much clear access to the alternator. So to go ahead and take this alternator out, the first step is you're going to loosen the nut up here on top of this pulley, and then after you loosen this nut, you're going to loosen the tightening thread here, the tensioner, which makes it go up and down to actually bring the tension off the belt, and then just pull it off. Okay, to removing this bolt, you want to use a size 14mm socket. and then as you can see right here, this belt's going to come off right here once you've loosened it enough. And you just pull it off like that, and on to the next step. So as you can see here on the alternator, I've removed the 2 sensor clips. You're going to undo that, the one that goes over here to the oil pan, and then this one here on the alternator. So as you see here from above, we're going to go down to this bolt right down there. That's the bolt. I can't get this thing down there. Right there. That's going to be the bolt. Actually, it's this bolt. It's that bolt. That's the one you're going to pull to get the alternator off right there. So this is right above the pulley. See this bolt right here? This is the bolt for the top bolt on the alternator that you're going to want to get. It's a 14. Okay, I ended up having to remove the fan shroud. I guess the service manual is correct. I thought the sway bar would be a shortcut, but apparently not. This long bolt here, when it comes out of the top of the alternator, it hits the fan, so you have to remove the shroud. So that means you have to drain the radiator, unfortunately. I didn't drain it all the way, I just drained a little bit because I just flushed this radiator, so I don't feel like paying for more fluid when I know that the fluid's pretty brand new. But that's what you should know. Also, I had to take this bracket off the zip tie, so just break it free and then you can re-zip tie it through this hole to get enough leverage, because you have to pull this plug off the back of the alternator, which wasn't pleasant. It was actually a biatch. And yeah, actually even worse was getting this nut off the top of this alternator. Once you got that off, it was a size 13 socket. That brought it off. And this is a size 14, and this one was a size 12. Okay, I was running into why I didn't understand why the alternator wouldn't come out. On the very back of it, it has these little 8mm bolts on this gold bracket. As you can see, I already have the wrench kind of hanging off of it. So once you remove those little 8mm bolts on the very back, then it'll slide out after getting all the wires unhooked from it and pulling out the 13mm negative bolt that runs to it, the ground. As you can see here, the alternator has been removed. This is what it'll look like once it is fully out. Here's the alternator installed. I've hooked back up all the connections to it, as you can see. This is what it should look like once you get it back in. Alright, we'll do the official test here with a little crack in the Motordyne. Yeah, sounds like she works. Perfect. Gotta love the shockwave. Nothing sounds better. Found this an engaging piece of tarmac here, and what better time to explore Motordyne capabilities and the capabilities of my 10-year-old Jeep. Ooh, man, that sounds good. This exhaust has absolutely no drone at all. It's engineering just perfected. Tony at Motordyne did a good job.